all for coming this afternoon. Welcome to the Walk in the Light Wellness Center. My name is Tanya Wingfield, and I will be your facilitator today. So we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. Start with you.
My name is Hallie.
Welcome, Hallie.
I'm Aviella.
Welcome, Albiella.
And I'm Catherine.
Welcome, Catherine. Thank you guys so much for attending. And so we do want to go over confidentiality and group norms before we get started. So I know we talked about last week, we talked about confidentiality. And so just making sure that you understand that whatever is said in this space is safe and it stays in this space. But there are also limitations to confidentiality. That will be threats to harm oneself, harm someone else, if there is evidence of child abuse, elder abuse, or if we are court subpoena. Okay, any questions about that? No? Thank you. So also, we also want to talk about some of the group norms that you guys kind of helped with creating. I know we talked about this being a respectful place, this being a place where you can share and not feel judged. And also, again, as we talked about, that confidentiality piece was an important part of that for you all, okay? So the first part, we're going to just do a recap of what we talked about last week, and that was stress or anxiety. And we talked about stress being the external forces, any pressure or any demands. And then we talked about anxiety, that internal, feeling that we have when things are going not as though we want them to go, or we're exhausted, or we're overwhelmed, just all of those different feelings that can elicit some of those, can elicit either stress or anxiety, okay? So as we go about it, we're gonna do a group discussion. So one of the things I wanna ask is, what does stress or anxiety feel like for you?
I think I feel anxiety in my chest.
Okay, thank you, Catherine, for sharing. Anybody else?
And my mind kind of goes in circles. And I just think about the same thing over and over and over.
Yes, I think we can kind of relate to that. Thank you, Hallie.
I think for me, if I can't fall asleep,
Mhm.
I know I'm feeling anxious.
Yes, all good things we talked about, that feeling in our chest, our mind racing, all of those things are signs of that stress or anxiety. So you guys have answered my second question when it said, how do you usually notice it in your body or behavior? We're going to talk about what situation usually make you feel stressed or anxious.
Deadlines at work stress
Mhm.
me out.
Okay, we're gonna put them on the board, okay? So, if you guys, I'll write it, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Let me talk about at work, and we mentioned deadlines, okay? What else do we have?
I'll be graduating in a month.
Yes.
So all the paperwork and school assignments. And
Yes, so preparing for graduation?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, what else we got?
Uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
just in general.
Yeah. Hopefully I got this spelled right.
That looks right. My family stresses me out.
Mhm. Expectations, or unpack that a little bit more.
I think, yeah, some expectations are just sometimes just coexisting with the
Okay, any others?
The state of the world.
Yeah, that's a great one. Anything in particular when we're talking about the state of the world?
Oh boy.
Remember, this is a safe space for us to share.
Yeah, I think, how shall I phrase this? I think like a breakdown of norms,
Okay.
public and social norms.
And norms are important. You know, they're important for us because it helps us have some identity to the way that we see the world, the way that we envision the world to be. So I can definitely understand that we are in a very high tension space right now in the world when it comes to a lot of things that we see on the news, a lot of things that we are hearing about, even in our communities. So I definitely understand that. Okay. Any others?
Money is always a stressor.
Yes. That is a definitely high point of stress.
Agreed.
Okay. Well, we definitely have come up with some good ones. So when we talk about stress, we're talking about stress at work. We're talking about preparing for graduation. We're talking about the uncertainties that we have, family expectations, the state of the world, and then also money. Those are all very good, talking points. What are some things you've done when you've experienced some of these stressors to help you with calming down? What does that look like for you all?
Sometimes venting helps me,
Mm-hmm.
just talking it out with somebody.
Venting is good.
I'll go on walks with my dogs to just kind of turn my mind off.
Walking is good.
I feel like I try to focus on the things
Mm-hmm.
I can control,
Mm-hmm.
and put my energy towards that.
Okay. Very good. These are all good strategies that you guys have mentioned, as far as helping you to try to find ways to cope with your stress, your anxiety. We talked about venting and walking and focus on what you can control. Those are all very good ways to do that. We're gonna switch it up a little bit, and we're gonna do another guided, and we're gonna do some deep breathing. Okay? So one of the things that is helpful as well is being able to control your breathing. So when you are experiencing that high stress or that anxiety, and sometimes we may not be able to have, to be able to vent to someone. We may be at work. We might not be able to get up and go for a walk. Again, there may be some other obligations that we have. And so one of the things that we can do is breathing, okay? And so I'm gonna do about a 2-minute breathing exercise, okay? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna inhale for 4, we're gonna hold for 4, and then we're gonna exhale for 4, okay? And I will demonstrate. So inhale, hold, and then exhale, okay? So if you guys will follow me, we're gonna inhale, hold, exhale. And we'll do it again. Inhale, hold, and exhale. And we'll do it again. Inhale, hold, and exhale. So that is one of the things that we can do. We can try to control our breathing. And so a quick way, if you don't have the time or the space to be able to do some of the other things that we've talked about, a quick inhale, hold, and exhale is a great way to recenter yourself. It just helps to regulate your body. It helps to recenter you to get you back to where your body is not in that stressful mode. Okay, so again, we would talk about inhale, hold, and exhale. Okay, So another exercise, which is called a grounding exercise, and what you would do is name 5 things that you can see, 4 that you can touch, and 3 that you can hear. Now give us a few minutes, okay? And so you can, it's a pen if you need to write them down, but 5 things you can see, 4 that you can touch, and 3 that you can hear. Okay? Any questions?
I think so.
Okay. So 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, 3 that you can hear. Give you about another minute or so. Okay. You good? Everybody's finished? Got enough time? Okay. So if you feel comfortable sharing, and whoever wants to go first, if you can kind of tell me what are the things that you came up with. So it's the 5 things you can see, the 4 you can touch, and the 3 you can hear. Who would like to go first? Okay, Allie, thank you.
5 things I can see is the tissue box, the cup of pens, the whiteboard, trash can, and a door.
Okay.
4 I can touch is this pen, the chair I'm sitting on, this desk, and the floor. And 3 things I can hear is when I was writing on paper, the noise outside, and us talking.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing, Helen. Anybody else?
5 things I can see: the window, the whiteboard, the pens, my hands, and the chairs at this table. 4 things I can touch are my sweater, the pen I'm holding, the table, and the paper. And then 3 things I can hear are the air conditioning, my breathing, and the pens writing on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see the window, the sunlight, I could see you guys, I can see the whiteboard, and I could see my hands. I could touch the paper, the table, the pen, in my hands as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could hear you, Tanya, I could hear the pens on paper, and I could hear my breathing.
Okay, thank you guys so much for sharing. So again, this is just another exercise to help with grounding you, helping you again to redirect your focus, helping you to, we've talked about this recentering in different ways. So this is just another way for you to do that, and just remembering the 5 things that you can see, the 4 that you can touch, and then the 3 that you can hear. Okay? So one of the other exercises that I'm going to have you to do is to write down 1 source of stress and 1 positive coping strategy. Okay? So we'll give you about a minute to do that. So 1 source of your stress and 1 positive coping strategy. Okay. So this particular one, I will not ask that you share. What I want you to do, this is just the beginning of another exercise that you guys can do to kind of help when you are stressed or feeling anxiety. And it's journaling. Writing down your feelings, writing down what is stressing you, writing down things that you can do to kind of help to alleviate that stress, writing down some things that have helped in the past, and then to consider, sometimes because of your experiences, it may not help you now, but what are some things that can help you with finding ways to address that stress or that anxiety. So these are just some techniques that I wanted to share with you guys on this afternoon of some things that you can do when you're feeling stressed or you're feeling anxious or that anxiety, all the different ways that we talk about it. Just want you to have some coping skills that you can use, some new strategies that you can use to help with that. So as we begin to wrap up, are there any questions or concerns or just some input that you would like to share with the class about your experience and just what we talked about today?
I enjoyed the recommendations because they can be applied to all sorts of stress, not just work stress or family stress or world stress. It can be applied to all of it.
Thank you, Catherine, for sharing. Anybody else?
Journaling is something I need to look into, because like I said before, my mind just goes on a loop. And if I write it on paper, it kind of cuts that loop.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that as well, Hallie.
Sometimes when I'm feeling anxious, the breathing strategy doesn't actually work the best for me. And so I think having a new one of identifying things you can see and touch and hear is another way to ground you is good.
Well, thank you guys so much for sharing. It is important to hear from you all because these are your experiences, but it also helps the other participants as well to learn new strategies, to hear that they're not alone, in this. And so I do thank you guys so much for sharing. Before I leave, I do want to leave with that stress and anxiety are normal parts of being a human. And the goal isn't to eliminate them completely, but to recognize when they're rising and to use the tools and strategies that we've talked about to kind of help with reducing them. So even small amounts of calm can make a big difference. So it may not change the situation as a whole, but it can help you to just feel a little bit better about the experiences that you are having, okay? So I thank you again. I will see you here next week as we continue to talk about ways and strategies that we can have a healthy coping skills as we're dealing with life challenges. Okay, so see you next week. And before you go, there is an evaluation about on our class today. So if you don't mind filling that out before you leave, and then there's also a take-home sheet with you that just talks a little bit more about stress and anxiety, and also give you some additional strategies that you can use. Okay, thank you so much.